cream, I shall have it all round my mouth.
Let's try one of the rose petals.
Can I have a tonic?
Yeah, of course, please.
Have you seen a royalty fury before? Queen Camilla is seething over a long-time feud, and it may not just be about diamonds. The Princess of Wales recently wore a tiara that belonged to the late Queen Elizabeth, and it looks like she's trying to make it her own. Is Camilla's anger justified? What does this imply for the rest of the royal family? Queen Camilla's connection with the Said tiara. As Queen Consort, Camilla can access clothes and pieces from the late Queen Elizabeth's collection. Whenever she wears any of these pieces, she symbolizes paying homage to the late monarch, such as when Queen Elizabeth II visited Turkey in 2008. She attended a dinner in Ankara, wearing a beautiful tiara called the Kokoshnik tiara. It was a very special tiara because at one point in time, it used to belong to Queen Alexandra. It is also linked with Russia because Empress Marie Feodorovna's tiara inspired the design. Some years later, Queen Camilla wore the same Kokoshnik tiara to a dinner at Buckingham Palace. This dinner was held for the Emir of Qatar, Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani. She also wore a necklace that had once belonged to Queen Elizabeth, and she looked lovely in both the tiara and the necklace. When Queen Elizabeth II arrived in Paris in a beautiful white evening dress embroidered with silver that Ian Thomas designed, she wore it alongside another special tiara, the girls of Great Britain and Ireland, and a necklace, a gift from King Faisal of Saudi Arabia. This tiara was very special to her, as she began wearing it in the 1950s when she was still a princess. Over the years, we lost count of how often the Queen wore this tiara. Queen Camilla wore the same tiara to a dinner in London many years later. She was spotted wearing the tiara at a dinner in London on October 18, 2023, at Mansion House. Also, when Peng Liyuan accompanied Queen Elizabeth II to a banquet in October 2015, she wore her sapphire and diamond tiara for the occasion. It was a special occasion, and the tiara certainly brought a touch of glamour to the evening. The tiara was worn by Queen Camilla years later when she attended a state banquet in honor of the South African President Cyril Ramaphosa on November 22, 2022. On May 6, 2023, the coronation of King Charles and Queen Camilla saw the pair wave from the balcony of Buckingham Palace in London, England. On this occasion, Queen Camilla wore a unique necklace, the same one the Queen Elizabeth II wore on her coronation day in 1953. On Christmas Day in the year 2022, Queen Camilla attended a service at St. Mary Magdalene Church in Sandringham, Norfolk. She had on a beautiful diamond brooch that used to belong to Queen Elizabeth II. On April 22, 2024, Queen Camilla visited the Royal Lancers in Catterick, England. There, she wore the regimental brooch, which Queen Elizabeth had also worn. In March 2024, when Queen Camilla attended the Royal Maundy service at Worcester Cathedral, she wore the Cartier sapphire and diamond flower brooches, which had been worn previously by Queen Elizabeth. Queen Camilla chose to honor the Queen with every careful selection of jewelry she wore, from tiaras to necklaces and brooches. However, seeing Catherine wearing one of the most sought-after tiaras that Camilla thought was hers must have made her think she had crossed the line. Could this be the real reason for her fury? Perhaps it was the significance attached to each tiara that made her upset. History of tiaras. Glittering accessories are just one part of tiaras. Traditionally, they symbolize power and wealth passed on from generation to generation. Each tiara had a story, especially about the grand courts of Europe. It told us what was fashionable and valued during that period. Today, some of these tiaras are designed to suit the style in vogue, while some are kept as they were. Their history is preserved in the diamonds and stones they came with. Tiaras became the final crown jewel of royal fashion from the 18th century onward. The Romanticism movement introduced floral and garland designs, while Russian nobility contributed to the Kokoshnik style. Two distinct tiara styles, the halo and the fringe, originated from the Russian Kokoshnik. These designs were adopted universally throughout Europe and used throughout the 20th century. The gradual rise of brands such as Cartier, Van Cleef, and Arpels by the Edwardian era, known in Europe as La Belle Époque, gave birth to the creation of tiaras fashioned for royal and aristocratic women, royalty, and socially ambitious elite females who wanted to impress others at balls and banquets. The bandeau style lived on to the 1930s as its aesthetics picked up on the geometric designs of the Art Deco period. Even after the Second World War, tiara existed and was even worn to Hollywood royal weddings, such as the weddings of the Duchess of Cambridge, the Duchess of Sussex, and Princess Eugenie. The history of tiaras tells us much about the most grand European courts, as they were worn as symbols of rank, status, and style. Over time, as power changed hands, the designs were altered to suit the aesthetic values of history's influential people. Gerard, among others, has typically updated tiaras to reflect the new generation of royals. In contrast, others, such as Chaumet, own a record of 2,000 documented tiaras made over centuries to guarantee status and power. A made-to-measure tiara is also essential, as these were grand and inspiring adornments for a woman who entered a grand ballroom knowing that all eyes would be on her. A tiara was never just a headdress, it was a signature. Imagine the reaction of Maria Vittoria dal Pozzo when she was given a tiara fashioned from natural pearl and diamond for her wedding to Amadeo of Savoy in 1867. It remained with the family for over 150 years and was created by Musi Padre e Figli, court jeweler of Turin. Again, in England, classical and naturalistic tiara styles reigned at the time, and the designs featured colorful gemstones that sparkled beautifully under candlelight. During this century, brides started wearing tiaras over their veils for their wedding ceremonies, which became a new trend that has continued for generations. But tiaras aren't just about beauty. They signal status, power, and social change within royal families. And when it comes to Catherine, she has been a ray of sunshine in the royal family. From her early days as Prince William's girlfriend to becoming the Princess of Wales, how has her rise in royal status been reflected in the jewels she now wears? Catherine's rise in royal status. Catherine took up various royal duties and commitments once she married into the royal family to assist the British monarch. On official overseas tours, she acted in the interests of her family and took part in important charity events. She mainly worked on a few projects through the Royal Foundation, early childhood care, addiction, and art. Along the way, she became patron of several charitable and military organizations, including the Anna Freud Center, Action for Children, Sports Aid, and the National Portrait Gallery. Perhaps her most prominent initiative was the mental health awareness program, Heads Together. This campaign was launched alongside her husband, William, and brother-in-law, Harry, in April 2016 to encourage people to discuss their mental health issues openly. Like Queen Camilla, Princess Kate, as Catherine is popularly called, has been seen wearing tiaras at some scheduled events, including state banquets, special receptions, and even her wedding day as a senior royal. She was to wear one for the diplomatic corps reception at Buckingham Palace in 2024, but she did not show up because she was in the middle of her chemotherapy treatment. Like anything that has to do with the monarch, tiaras have rules that guide when it is worn, because it is not just a piece that can be thrown on whenever. For one, tiara rules state that they cannot be worn after 5 p.m. unless it happens to be on a wedding day. The royals do not own tiaras. They are usually passed on from one royal to another for their lifetime. Also, the issue of who wears which tiaras is determined by the king or queen. Queen Elizabeth II had over 20 tiaras, out of which she lent the Cartier Halo tiara, Lover's Knot tiara, Lotus Flower tiara, and Strathmore Rose tiara to Catherine. These sparkling headpieces have been a beautiful addition to Catherine's head jewels ever since. So, let's look at how she has worn them over the years. Catherine wore a tiara on her wedding day when she married Prince William. For her grand Westminster Abbey ceremony, she selected the Cartier Halo tiara to complement her elegant Alexander McQueen wedding dress. This is the first and only time we have seen this tiara on her since. Catherine attended her first state banquet at Buckingham Palace in October 2015. She welcomed China's President Xi Jinping and his wife, Madame Peng Liyuan. She was wearing the lotus flower tiara and a Jenny Packham gown. But the following year, Catherine wore the Lover's Knot tiara, one of Princess Diana's favorites, for the annual diplomatic reception. She paired it with a light blue lace Alexander McQueen gown. She wore the Lover's Knot tiara again on December 8, 2015. Initially, the tiara was created for Queen Mary in the early 1990s to mimic the Cambridge Lover's Knot tiara that had initially belonged to her grandmother, Princess Augusta of Hesse-Kassel. She attended the same diplomatic reception again a year later on December 8, 2016, and paired the Lover's Knot tiara with a red lace gown. 2 years later, Catherine was again seen sporting the Lover's Knot tiara on July 12, 2017, leaving a state banquet at Buckingham Palace. The event was held to welcome Spain's king, King Felipe, and his queen, Queen Letizia. In December of that year, she wore the tiara at another diplomatic reception. In both events, she wore the tiara with her hair up high and a fancy updo, and added a diamond necklace and pearl drop earrings. Catherine wore the Lover's Knot tiara again for a state banquet on October 23, 2018, when she went alongside her husband in a light blue dress to be part of a state banquet in honor of King Willem-Alexander and Queen Maxima of the Netherlands. On December 4, 2018, Catherine returned to another evening reception for diplomats at Buckingham Palace. This time, she wore the Lover's Knot tiara, with an exquisite white gown covered in sequin. She also had her pearl drop earrings. The Lover's Knot remained a consistent choice for Catherine for events. She wore it again to the U.S. state banquet with a pink and blue sash, alongside the Queen Mother's sapphires and diamond earrings. There, she earned the new title of the Royal Victorian Order. Catherine continued to wear the Lover's Knot 3 times in a row. One of these times, she paired it with a black Alexander McQueen long-sleeved gown, a diamond necklace, and diamond chandelier earrings. Catherine again chose the Lover's Knot tiara with a white Jenny Packham cape dress and pearl drop earrings for the first state banquet for King Charles III as the new monarch. The event was held to greet South African President Cyril Ramaphosa. It was the first time she wore a tiara since she became the Princess of Wales. Another time Catherine decided to wear a tiara was the Lotus Flower tiara that was last seen in 2015. She paired the tiara with a red Jenny Packham gown. Catherine shocked most people when she wore a tiara that had not been seen in public for almost 100 years, the Strathmore Rose tiara. She wore this tiara at a state banquet for the President of South Korea and his wife. The last time this tiara was seen was when the Queen's mother wore it in the 1930s. The Lover's Knot tiara was worn again at the annual diplomatic reception at Buckingham Palace. She chose to wear it this time with a pink sequin Jenny Packham gown. As you will see, these tiaras were only worn during special occasions. Are there reasons why these rules have been put in place? And although Kate has had this tiara for a long time, what could be the reason behind Camilla's anger over the tiara? Rules guiding wearing tiaras. Tiaras symbolized wealth and status, and most often indicated some royal tie. Today, they are still held in the same high esteem as in royal history, and no one can wear them, mainly because there are rules that guide how they are worn. Tiaras are not as simple as slipping them on your head in the royal world. The difference, however, between patterns of wearing tiaras in the past and the modern era is that royal women wore tiaras even to the theaters and fancy dinners like Princess Margaret. But things have changed, and most royal women wear their first tiara on a very special day, their wedding day. Whether they were raised in the royal family like Princess Eugenie or married into it like Kate Middleton or Meghan Markle, it does not matter. For most people, a married person can only place the tiara on their head for the first time at their wedding. After that, they will only wear them for very formal events. The second rule is that tiaras can only be worn after 5 p.m. This is because the diamonds are meant to reflect throughout the evening. That said, a royal woman can go to a crucial daytime event, but she will not be wearing a tiara. However, there is one exception to this rule, which is in the case of weddings. Brides are also allowed to break the rule since royal weddings are typically held in the morning. You may be wondering how royal women acquire their tiaras. Do they get to choose from a collection? Do they own them? Here's the truth. Tiaras are not personal possessions. So the answer is no. Rather, they are lent to the women to use for the rest of their lives. Once the king or queen decides who the tiara belongs to, it is usually worn by that person and no one else until they leave the earth. An example is Catherine, the Princess of Wales, who currently has 4 tiaras: the Cartier Halo Tiara, the Cambridge Lover's Knot Tiara, the Lotus Flower Tiara, and the Strathmore Rose Tiara. She can wear any of them for any grand occasion, but no other royal woman will be seen wearing these tiaras as long as they remain with her. Once a tiara is picked, the chosen royal has to wear it appropriately. The biggest worry here, however, is for it not to fall off. After all, a priceless tiara slipping from one royal's head would be embarrassing. To prevent this from happening, hairdressers use a unique trick. A small section of their hair is braided, and the laces of the tiara are sewn in to ensure that the tiara stays in place all night. One thing is to make sure the tiara blends in with the wearer's hair. Every tiara is built with a wire base that can be visible if improperly put in. To avoid this, a piece of velvet that matches the color of the royal's hair is rolled around the base. This makes the wire base almost invisible and draws all the attention to the shining jewels. So, how do royal women know what tiara would be assigned to them? When the reigning king or queen decides to hand over a tiara for an upcoming royal event, he or she may hand her a small selection or select one for her. Even if a royal woman has a favorite, it's not necessarily sure she will wear it. The final choice is up to the monarch. For example, during the passing down of possession, Kate inherited some jewelry, but not the Spencer tiara. The Spencer tiara is a cherished piece that forms part of the Spencer family heritage and was worn by both of Diana's older sisters, Jane and Sarah, at their wedding. Yet despite its value, Princess Kate was prohibited from wearing this tiara. Meghan Markle reportedly wanted to wear the Spencer tiara for her wedding day in 2018, but Queen Elizabeth II denied her access. Meghan ended up choosing Queen Mary's diamond bandeau tiara to wear. Although the Spencer tiara is out of bounds for Kate and Meghan to wear, both women have continued to make Princess Diana proud by wearing the most gorgeous pieces of Princess Diana's jewelry. From necklaces and rings to earrings and bracelets, the Princess of Wales and the Duchess have been seen flaunting these pieces of Diana's jewelry. Also, young girls do not wear tiaras. Even if the royal lady comes from a long line of royal princesses, seeing one on a royal lady under 18 is unusual. Some young royals are even gifted with a tiara for their 18th birthday, and that is when they are finally allowed to wear a tiara at formal events. It's not just about age. There's also an operating timeline of when and where tiaras will and won't be worn. Tiaras can be worn to state banquets, diplomatic receptions, royal balls, and weddings, but not every event needs one. Royal women sometimes leave them at home and replace them with a hat, fascinator, or brooch. Moreover, tiaras are not all about looking pretty. They have deep historical significance attached to them, like the Vladimir tiara. Traditional headpieces were first given to high-ranking men and women during the Greek and Roman empires, and they served as symbols of their status. Though they were not new at the time, Napoleon made them en vogue, ordering several fabulous headpieces for his wife, Josephine, to give his court the appearance of the most magnificent 19th-century European court. Napoleon was also looking for the opportunity to associate himself with the ancient emperors of the past, and Josephine's new headpieces were just the perfect fit. Not long after, the other noblewomen of other courts began to emulate her, and soon everybody, including the great houses of Europe, was seen wearing the fashionable tiaras. So a royal woman cannot escape the story surrounding the tiara, as some of them have been passed through generations, while others come from foreign countries. The Vladimir tiara was composed of 12 gold, tear-shaped sides adorned with pieces of rubies and diamonds, with a gold and pearl band and enamel panels on the other side. The Vladimir tiara, however, was said to be a treasured family heirloom for the Grand Duchess Vladimir of Russia and her family, but was smuggled out of the country amid the Russian Revolution. It is also said that the Grand Duchess treasured the Vladimir tiara above all her other jewels because it had been crafted in 1874 by the court jeweler, Bolin. Today, this tiara is unlikely to be worn again, as it is now part of the royal collection and is hidden and privately owned by the monarch. The Vladimir tiara, however, is remembered as one of Queen Elizabeth's favorite headpieces. Another interesting rule is that tiaras should not be removed from the country. Even if a royal woman travels for an important event, she does not always take her tiara. Foreign royal weddings or diplomatic visits, however, are the only exceptions, but the reigning monarch decides these cases too. Finally, placement. There is a specific style to getting the perfect fit for the tiara on the head. In the 1920s, women often wore tiaras low on their foreheads, nearly like headbands. However, they are worn slightly further back today, but they cannot be placed too far back, or the diamonds will not take the center of attention. The trick to finding the perfect tiara spot is simple. According to Tatler, the proper placement is easy. Place your thumb on your chin indent and your forefinger between the brows. Keep the fingers the same distance apart, but move the thumb up between the brows and the forefinger to the top of the head. Where the finger lands is the perfect place for tiara placement. These rules may sound extreme, but they maintain the royal family's traditions. Tiaras are not only fashion statements, they have historical value and signify rank and status. So, whenever a royal woman places a tiara on her head, she is part of a tradition that has lasted for centuries. If there are rules surrounding wearing tiaras in the palace, why then do we have an angry queen? The supposed tension with the lover's knot. Tiara Queen Camilla is reportedly unhappy that Kate chose to wear this historic piece. In fact, why would Camilla be upset? She is the Princess of Wales after all, so having one of the most famous royal tiaras is quite natural. To understand this, we must examine tiara's history, Camilla's role in the royal family, and the ongoing power struggles behind palace doors. The lover's knot tiara isn't just any tiara. It belonged to Princess Diana when she lived, and even in the 90s, it belonged to Queen Mary first. So that's why it is regarded as one of the most iconic pieces in royal history. The lover's knot, however, became popular after Princess Diana's marriage to Prince Charles. The piece was so heavy on her head that it caused her lots of headaches, but it never stopped her from wearing it. It was her favorite, after all. Step by step, Diana's use of the lover's knot sent a message. She was the people's princess, an elegant, graceful princess that everybody loved. Unfortunately, the tiara was returned to the royal collection when Diana and Charles divorced, and no one wore it for years. It had also become so associated with Diana that it was thought that anybody who wore it would likely be compared to Princess Diana. However, Kate entered the royal family. People couldn't help but look at her as the next Diana when she married Prince William in 2011, the beautiful, stylish princess who carried herself with so much elegance. Eventually, the lover's knot tiara was passed to Kate, who began to wear it at major events as Diana had done. It is possible that Camilla's frustration began here. However, her history with the royal family has been a story for days. She is now the queen, not minding that she had been known as the woman who separated Charles and Diana for years. She never won the British people's hearts, and even after Diana's passing, it was hard to get the public to like her. Gradually, she started building a more stable position for herself over time. The narrative people held of her changed, and when Queen Elizabeth II passed on, Camilla became queen. However, even with her new title, she is still compared to Diana, and some predict she might still live in the shadows of Princess Diana. Now, Kate's wearing of the lover's knot tiara could cause uncomfortable memories for Camilla. Diana's presence is a powerful reminder, and something Camilla has been keen on leaving behind. The media never shuts up about the late Princess Diana whenever Kate appears in the tiara. So this could be a painful reminder to Camilla that no matter how much time has passed, Diana will never leave people's hearts. Camilla's frustration could also be due to the balance of power in the royal family. Traditionally, the queen should have the most prestigious jewels. The lover's knot is one of the most famous tiaras, yet Camilla has no access. Instead, it has become Kate's signature. Such a scenario could create tension, making it appear that Kate is more stylish and glamorous than Camilla, which she may likely not be happy about. Another reason may be that Camilla had her plans for the tiara. Some sources suggest that maybe she wanted it for herself, or perhaps she wanted it for someone else in the family. As we mentioned, the monarch has the authority to pick and decide who would wear what tiara, and Queen Elizabeth did that while she was alive. Following her passing, the mantle shifted to Charles, now king, and Camilla, who is now queen. But if Camilla wanted to take the tiara or lend it to another person, she could be frustrated by Kate's refusal. Plus, Camilla has generally preferred to keep pieces of jewelry in the background, unlike Diana or Kate, whose fashion headlines were often the result of their choice of tiara. It was only recently that Queen Camilla decided to wear some of Queen Elizabeth's headpieces, so it might be justified. Now, as queen, there is more pressure for her to accept everything the royal traditions come with. In contrast, it could draw attention to how the two women fulfill their roles as a modern princess and a queen who is just trying to establish her legacy. That is just the outside of the tiara, but there might also be a much bigger discussion about how relations within the royal family are shifting. With King Charles leading, senior royals' roles are now in the process of changing. However, with Princess Kate and William seen as the couple for the monarchy's future, Camilla and Charles may try their best to keep their authority. Therefore, tensions could arise if Kate's increasing popularity and her association with Diana's memory are seen as overshadowing Camilla's role. But these rumors could also be nothing more than speculation. After all, the royal family is always a gossip territory for the world, and not everything reported is always true. There may be some quiet tensions behind closed doors, but there is no public evidence that Camilla is straight up furious about Kate wearing the lover's knot tiara. However, the media and royal watchers would still analyze every interaction, every outfit, and every piece of jewelry for clues into relationship dynamics within the family. The lover's knot tiara is much more than simply an accessory at the end of the day. And unfortunately, the tiara drama might be a small piece in this whole puzzle. There might be other rumors just behind the palace's closed doors, a power tussle between Queen Camilla and Princess Kate, perhaps. If this is true, what would it mean for the monarch's future? What do you think? Do you think Camilla is being unnecessarily jealous? Share your opinion in the comments. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to our channel. Before you go, explore the other videos displayed on your screen.